And now live from the Union Smack Event Center, it's this week's TENNANT TALKS.
Well, oh well, oh well. After 2 long years, ladies and gentlemen, they have finally given me my own show. I have a live microphone, I have no one to edit me, and I will say whatever I want, however I want, and it's all staying in, every single little bit of it. So, without further ado, I bid you a very, very warm welcome to TENNANT Talks, Episode 1, Week 1. We have some stories for you. We are going to upset some people. We're going to say some things that other people probably wouldn't dare, even though they think it. And as it's the news you've come for, let's give you some news. In our main story, is Pete really done in NXT already? Without a doubt, if you're a Pete Dunne fan, then you will have been thrilled to see him turn up on NXT television and challenge the Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong for the NXT North American Championship at NXT Takeover Toronto on August the 10th. Sadly, that thrill has turned into anger and frustration for many, because even though you'll know by now, it was Pete Dunne who was pinned in Toronto in order for the Velveteen Dream to retain the North American Championship after a Roderick Strong end of heartache. Pete Dunne hasn't been having the best of times in NXT, sadly. If you didn't know, then prior to NXT Takeover Toronto, Dunne appeared on a host of NXT live events with differing results, let's say. On July the 25th, NXT Live in North Charleston, South Carolina, Pete Dunne defeated Cameron Grimes, and the result was the same on July the 26th in Columbia, South Carolina. On July the 27th, however, when NXT Live visited Atlanta, Georgia, things started to go downhill. Badly, I must say. Pete Dunne lost to Damian Priest, and the result was the same on July the 28th at NXT Live in Concord, North Carolina. On August the 1st in St. Petersburg, Florida, Pete Dunne defeated Roderick Strong. However, on August the 3rd in Largo, Florida, he was the one looking at the lights for the Velveteen Dream in a triple threat match for the North American Championship, which was given to the live audience before TakeOver for gratis, for nothing, for the price of an admission ticket. On August the 8th in Albany, New York, Pete Dunne lost to Matt Riddle, and on August the 9th in Brooklyn, New York, it was the same result. Now, why don't you just take a big, steaming, dirty shit in his mouth while he's down and fuck his girlfriend in front of him? I mean, seriously, are you absolutely kidding me? This is not the way to treat a man or a talent like Pete Dunne. He's the future of your brand, your company, and you're not only making him take the pin in title matches, but you're jobbing him to former Ring of Honor stars prior to a match where you really need people to believe in him. I don't see how losing to Damian Priest is doing him any good at all. It's doing Damian Priest wonders. Damian Priest can now boast that he's twice pinned the former WWE United Kingdom champion. And not just former, still the longest reigning WWE United Kingdom champion at that. And I don't want people to, give me shit about Pete Dunne paying his dues. He paid them for 685 days, making a title notable and prestigious that could have otherwise fallen into complete obscurity. Not to mention being the foundation of a brand that could have easily failed at any time. And this isn't Triple H. Triple H, I'm pretty sure, or so I've heard, doesn't run the NXT live events. He doesn't book them. He's not there to oversee them. He's got far, far more important things to do, like keeping his fucking father-in-law's hands off of his product. This is WWE bookers who have come down from the main roster and they don't know the talent, they don't know what they're doing, they're still green at booking really good wrestling, and they really don't know what they have. And yes, Road Dogg Jesse James, I'm looking at you. You have a worldwide star in the palm of your hand, so start treating him with some fucking respect or don't book him at all. Absolutely ridiculous. These results made me cringe when I saw them. And I'm sure they made any NXT UK or Pete Dunne fan cringe as well. And I know there'll be some NXT fuck out there going, oh, but Pete Dunne's not part of the main NXT brand yet. He's just a part-timer. Does it matter? Pete Dunne is the future of NXT. He's the future of WWE. When Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era and Tommaso Ciampa have all moved up to the main roster, as they will, by the end of 2019, they'll all be gone. Who are you going to put the title on then? Who are you going to look at then as your main man? And I know they're going to the USA Network, and I know I've heard reports that Vince McMahon wants a more hands-on role in NXT. God help them. But Pete Dunne embodies NXT. Look what he did for NXT UK. Look what he did for the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Pete Dunne was the biggest draw NXT UK has ever had, and he still is, even bigger than Walter. Don't even argue with me on that because you're wrong. It's absolutely ludicrous that you would put a former Ring of Honor star over a man like Pete Dunne. Damian Priest is good, don't get me wrong, but Pete Dunne is twice the wrestler Damian Priest will ever be, and twice the star. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. And speaking of Pete Dunne, it has been announced that he will return to Progress at Chapter 95, Still Chasing, on September the 15th. As of yet, no opponent has been announced for Pete. However, on the same show, Mustache Mountain will face Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. So if you are attending Progress Chapter 95, Still Chasing, on September the 15th, then you've already got your money's worth there. And speaking of ludicrous, our next main story focuses on the current WWE United Kingdom champion, Walter, or Volta, if you're Nigel McGuinness. It has come to light in recent weeks that the Austrian is apparently deeply unhappy in WWE and will leave at the end of the year when his contract expires. His contract expires in late December 2019, I do believe. However, it has yet to be revealed what Walter is or even could be deeply unhappy about. He has been allowed to set his own contract stipulations. He turned down NXT because he didn't want to work in America. He turned down a main roster move because he wanted to live in Europe and he didn't want to move to the United States. He's been given the keys, literally, to the NXT UK Kingdom, and the red carpet was rolled out for him on his debut. He not only got arguably the best NXT UK debut there will probably ever be, debuting right at the death of NXT UK Takeover Blackpool in January. He was also allowed to end the most prestigious title reign in the last 20 years, arguably. And not only that, but he's been allowed to command his own fleet. He's been placed at the forefront of NXT UK and given the biggest story of the summer. What has Walter got to be unhappy about? I do not see it. I absolutely do not see it. And if this story was just hearsay and speculation, fine. However, nothing has been said to the contrary. Nothing has been said to prove it false. Nothing's been said to prove it true. So now we're in limbo. We have NXT UK Takeover Cardiff on the very, very near horizon. And now everyone is wondering whether Tyler Bate will take the title from Walter because Walter wants to leave. And obviously Triple H can't take the risk of Walter not resigning and then just having to swap the championship on a NXT UK episode, which would be a massive come down. I just don't see right now what Walter has to be unhappy about. I really don't. It's not like he's in NXT where he could complain that a shift to the USA network would mean, he has to take a step backwards behind the likes of Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa and Undisputed Era, etc. He's not on the main roster where start-stop booking is hindering his progress, or where he's being put in some useless or pathetic feud over a title that doesn't matter. He's absolutely at the forefront right now of a whole brand, a whole show. He's replaced Pete Dunne as the face of NXT UK, and this story still is doing the rounds and making him out to be somebody who is both ungrateful and unhappy, even though we still don't know why. And if it is true, I have no idea what would make Walter happy. The absolute only thing that comes to mind why he's not happy is the story that circulated a few weeks ago, and we mentioned it on our main Union Smack show, on our NXT UK Omnibus. The incident between Walter and David Starr at OTT WrestleRama 3, where David Starr stamped on the WWE United Kingdom Championship, and then it was revealed that it was all Walter's idea in the first place, that Walter okayed it without WWE's consent, and Triple H and WWE management obviously weren't happy that such disrespect was shown to their title. And when it came out that Walter was the mastermind behind it, it was said that he could face some recompense, some punishment for his misjudgment. If he is having a shit fit at that, then he's only got himself to blame. We will keep you updated on this situation as and when it happens, and if we get any more news. Imperium member Marcel Bartel was forced to deal with an unruly, disrespectful fan on the August the 3rd NXT live event from Largo, Florida. Reports state that on his way to the ring, Bartel, who was accompanied by Fabian Eichner, was confronted by a fan who, for some inane reason to himself, threw up a Nazi salute during Marcel Bartel's entrance. The German star had the member of public removed, but he was allowed back in halfway through Bartel's match. It is a disgusting act, and whoever did it should be ashamed of themselves. In 2019, there is absolutely no room for anything like that in society. On August the 4th, it was announced that Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan would take part in WXW's World Tag Team Festival between October the 4th and October the 6th. For those who don't know, Danny Burch has had a long history in WXW. He began competing for them in 2007, and in 2008 he actually lifted the WXW World Tag Team Championships alongside Doug Williams. So he will get a nice homecoming, I am sure, and it will be nice to see both Burch and Lorcan get some proper competition, because since their scrap against Undisputed Era in 2018, and the tag team ladder match at NXT TakeOver 25 for the NXT Tag Team Championships, they've not really had the best competition. They've not had competition that can bring it out of them. So we should all be very excited to see what they can do against some of the world's best, and indeed against some of WXW's best. We will keep you updated on the results from the WXW World Tag Team Festival between October the 4th and October the 6th, as and when they happen. Toni Storm has had a right rare old time of it lately. Not only did she successfully defend the NXT UK Women's Championship against Piper Niven at ICW Shug's Hoose Party 6 on July the 28th, but it has come to light recently that the hottest Australian woman alive today, next to Rhea Ripley of course, was recently pulled from a WXW show over SummerSlam weekend, and rumours are now persisting that she's suffered an injury. However, we do not know if that is true as of yet, and if it is, we do not know what the injury is. However, with NXT UK Takeover Cardiff in just 2 weeks' time, this could be disastrous for Toni Storm. NXT UK have made such a big issue out of her feud with Kaylee Ray, and rightly so. It's for the title. It's based off personal feeling. It's based off the history between the two women. However, that could all now be for nothing if Toni Storm is injured and cannot make Cardiff. It's also going to pose a problem for NXT UK management now, and Triple H in particular, because all the tapings are done. All the tapings are done up to Cardiff, so there's no time to rectify anything. There's no time to have Toni Storm come out on television and vacate the championship. If that was to happen, if Kaylee Ray becomes champion by default, then it's going to have to happen at TakeOver. It's going to have to revolve around another attack angle like we saw between Jordan Devlin and Travis Banks in Blackpool. That's going to ring samey to a lot of people, probably get a lot of complaints as well. But sadly, it's something that cannot be helped. I cannot see them just making Toni Storm go out in Cardiff and forfeit the title, even though that may open up a massive feud for her when she gets back. Roll this feud into the next one. I see them making Toni Storm compete after an attack angle filmed backstage, and Kaylee Ray beating her very promptly so Storm doesn't have to do much. However, as we said, we do not know the extent of the injury yet. We don't know whether she can do a lot, whether she can do a little, whether she was pulled from WXW show just to make sure that she could compete on August the 31st. However, we will keep you up to date with this if any more details become available. Staying with the theme of current NXT UK champions, NXT UK Tag Team Champions, the Grizzled Young Veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake, recently became double champions when they defeated Aussie Open on July the 28th to win the Progress Tag Team Championships for the third time. This occurred at Progress Chapter 93, Cheer Up Juice, and they will of course go on to defend the NXT UK Tag Team Championships against Gallus and Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster at NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff on August the 31st. So congratulations to the Grizzled Young Veterans. Along with Walter, that means that NXT UK talent are now holding both the NXT UK Tag Team Championships, the Progress Tag Team Championships, the Progress World Championship, and the WWE United Kingdom Championship. So WWE and Progress, who work together on NXT UK shows, not really doing much to dispel the rumour that NXT UK is Progress light at the moment. Joe Coffey versus Dave Mastiff has been announced. in a last man standing match for NXT UK Takeover Cardiff on August the 31st. And this was made after their singles match on NXT UK television ended in a double countout. For those who haven't spotted it already, NXT UK are very much going down the Dave Mastiff, Eddie Dennis storyline route, which led them into NXT UK Takeover Blackpool in January. However, Coffey versus Mastiff, last man standing, no rules, should be very entertaining, should be a very, very good match, and I do anticipate Dave Mastiff picking up his first pinfall loss in NXT UK. It is also worth mentioning that before we get to NXT UK Takeover Cardiff, it is very, very likely that Noam Dar versus Travis Banks will be announced as the fifth and final match for the show, though Piper Niven versus Rhea Ripley should also be there as well as match number 6. However, the Banks versus Dar match will most likely be where we see Kenny Williams turn heel. And finally, on this week's Tennant Talks, NXT UK recently invaded a NXT live event on August the 17th in Sebring, Florida. A host of NXT UK names were on hand to face off against NXT talent, just like the Worlds Collide tournament, only I get the impression this was much, much more entertaining. Among them was Ligero defeating Angel Garza, or Angel Garza. Kona Reeves defeating Ilya Dragunov, which is an absolute joke. Why you'd put Kona Reeves over Ilya Dragunov is beyond me. Reeves is a bit part player in a company and a brand that's way too big for his talents, and Dragunov is a worldwide star. It wouldn't have done anything for Kona Reeves because I don't believe the NXT audience in America know who Dragunov really is, so this was pointless. The only job this did was to pull Dragunov down a few more notches after he's done nothing of note on NXT UK television, apart from lose to Cassius Ohno and defeat Jobbers. Utterly, utterly poor. Poor booking. And it goes back to what I was saying about bookers coming down from WWE's main roster, working in NXT, not knowing the talent that well, and just fucking absolutely everything up. As demonstrated by the next result, which was Breezango defeating Imperium. Says it all, doesn't it, really? Kaylee Ray did get a victory over Tegan Knox to keep her strong going into NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff. And in the main event, Danny Burch, Oni Lorcan, and the Velveteen Dream defeated all 3 members of Gallus. So, way to keep your number 1 contenders to the NXT UK Tag Team Championships looking strong. And that is all I have time for on episode 1, week 1 of Tennant Talks. I will, of course, be back here with you next week with all the best in British, European, professional wrestling news. Do not forget to go and check out our Union Smack Hall of Fame episode 3, inducting the exotic Adrian Street. And of course, our monthly NXT UK Omnibus will be back with you this week, as will our retro review. This time me and Travis take a look back at ECW Heatwave 1998 to round out the summer just for you wonderful, wonderful people. Until then, you can find me on Twitter at The Perfect Tenant. You can find Travis on Twitter at The Hibiki TMD. You can go to our online shop, unionsmack.bigcartel.com, where you can buy the official Union Smack shirts, the official Hibiki TMD shirt, the official Reset Button shirt, and it will be your last chance to get the first ever Union Smack shirt that we put on sale last year, because that will come off of sale very shortly, so we can put on the new Tennant Talks t-shirt, and of course the Union Smack Hall of Fame t-shirt, both coming your way at the beginning of September. So get over there, purchase what you need to purchase before it disappears, ready for the new stock coming in early September. Thank you once again for listening, for watching. I am the Maniac Matt Tennant, and for this week, Tennant Talks no more.